Okay, so if you're here, I imagine that is because you're curious about automatic drawing and the flow state, and this is what I'm going to talk about. So first of all, what is automatic drawing? Arrow? Yeah, what is automatic drawing? Creative method that involves making art without conscious thought or planning. So what does it mean? There is no rational thought behind it. It's just let it go. And it comes, actually, someone was saying, oh, it's AI. No, it's not AI. It is automatic, and it comes from automatism, which is actually borrowed from physiology. And it refers to any like non-conscious effort, for example, like breathing or sleepwalking. And it was a term introduced by Freud, and all the artists I'm going to talk about is from the same period, right? And he did a lot of automatic writing, where he was just writing without thinking and in one go, and then he will analyze those writings and thoughts. So yeah, and automatic drawing art history. So it is associated with surrealism. Surrealism was a movement that happened at the beginning of the 20th century, and there are like many artists that you might know, like Dali, this the really famous one that I'm going to talk about. And in this case, automatic drawing was aimed to access the unconscious mind and unleash like the potential, the messages that were there, that the artist wasn't fully aware of. And then it could like, again, analyze it later or just use it as an exercise to then full on keep on creating and getting those ideas from it. So many artists who practice automatic drawing are André Masson, Austin Osman Spare, Salvador Dali, Hilma af Klint, Max Ernst, Joe Miro, and many others. And they are all roughly from the same period. I'm going to show you some examples of those drawings. So, for example, André Masson is one of the best known. He used automatic drawing during the whole career. He fought in the First World War, and then many of the drawings are a reflection of everything that he saw during that. And it was used as a therapeutic way in how to like deal with the trauma after what he's seen. Then we go Austin Osman Spare, which is like a British artist that was before them, actually. And he was an occultist. He was part of the Golden Dawn. And then he developed his own occultism. And he used automatic drawing as a way, in a spiritual way, as a way to untap, like connect with those other realms. And he also created like sigil magic. So if you ever heard about like chaos magic, that's him. He started. That's Dali, for example. This one is really abstract, but it happens something. There is this phenomenon which is called pareidolia, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen an abstract shape and then you see something. For example, the most obvious example is faces. When you see faces on walls or an abstract shape, and then you create that. So, for example, in this particular drawing, you can't see that phenomenon. And this is like how many artists use it, like myself as well. It's like you start with random motion shapes, and those shapes start to resemble things, figurative things. And then we go Hilma af Klint, which is a Swedish artist and really interesting person as well. She was also into spiritualism and following the teachings of Madame Blavatsky and theosophy. And she used, again, automatic drawing as a way to connect with these like higher realms. And in this particular one, it kind of predicted like the Second World War and this map of Britain. And also really interesting about her, she wrote on her will that her drawings, because she thought the world wasn't ready for those drawings yet. So to be released all the body of work when 20 years after her death. So she's actually one of the prime examples of abstract drawing and painting in European, well before Kandinsky and other like abstract painters. We go like Max Ernst. He invented that technique, which is called frottage. And again, it's like you get on a surface and put a paper and just like use like a crayon. And from seeing those shapes, he will just like create his art, and similar to what we've seen with Dali. And then we go like Miro. And Miro, it was in a similar fashion, and he was really against the establishment, even though obviously he was like middle class, but he was way more playful, and he wanted to go back to the childlike state of creation when there is no judgment and there is just like freedom of expression. Right, what's flow state? So it's a mental state in which a person becomes completely immersed in an activity. It was developed by this psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, I can't pronounce the name, in the 70s. And it's been like regard his book as like a study on happiness, but actually is rather quality of experience and enjoyment. So what he studied was enjoyment, and it was across, I'm just like linking with drawing, but it's across any activity, human activity. He interviewed lots of people from different walks of life, and mountain climbers or sports people, and they all, that's why he called it flow state, they all like agree on feeling like with the flow, that expression that we use these days, or being in the zone. And there are like few key aspects of the flow state. There you go, all those things like roughly, and I just highlighted the ones that are more relevant to drawing, in this case, to automatic drawing. But then, for example, balance between challenge and skill. What does it mean? That if it's too easy, if the activity is too easy, then you don't get engaged. And if it's too difficult, you get bored and frustrated. So it has to have, like, you have to have certain mastery of the skill. But in this case, with automatic drawing, it's not necessary at all, because it's all about really like let go. Then it's like the intense focus, which is the main aspect, which is like you're totally into the activity, in the sense that time transformation is like suddenly time appears differently than in normal life. It's like either really short or really long, and you just lose track of time, basically. Same with like loss of self-consciousness. Sometimes people report like not being so aware of the activity that they forget who they are. Autotelic experience, what that means is like it is made for the sake of it. It's like you're doing it, you're not expecting to get any goal. You're just doing it for the sake of it. Autotelic comes from Greek, it's like that in itself. Then clear goals and feedback, that's something that people usually, in this case, is about the reward, but not the reward. It's like you have to have like some sense of direction in order to do the activity and then get the feedback from other people or even yourself, and see it's like, oh, I've done good, so I can keep on doing it. Time transformation, and then, yes, sense of control. It's like many people as well report that they are opposed to the regular life. When everything is chaotic, they just like feel that they have this sense of control, that they are totally is in a sphere that they can control, and they can feel like own the experience. Okay, so this is because Austin Osman Spare, who I talked about him before, on his book, Book of Pleasure, he has this chapter about automatic drawing, and this is a really cool quote in the sense of like getting that germ of an idea through automatic drawing that then will lead you to many other unexpected things. It's like that thread that will take you to other things that, because they belong to your subconscious, you're not usually aware of. He was the first theorist about, like, he actually developed this technique a lot. So how to do it in terms of drawing? Just get your materials, anything can do, find a calm space, let go judgment. This is really difficult when you are an artist and you're always judging yourself, but the main reason and the main goal of this activity is precisely that. It's just like let go and keep on doing what you do. Obviously enjoy the process. In my case, listen to some music. That's it. Any questions? Yeah.
Like through this process of automatic drawing, what is something profound that you've learned about yourself or about your artwork?
So there are like some recurrent symbols in my case, and they are really nature-based because I grew up in nature. So there are like, lots of elements, animals, the sea as well, because I'm from the coast. And they repeat, and they are actually symbols that they appear in my dreams. So to me, it's a great way of like understanding. Sometimes I'm more on the line of those two artists that are more like mediums even. Sometimes because I'm not in control, there are some creatures that they appear. And I wonder if they actually come from a different realm. That's like sometimes like more mystic or like kind of approach. But yeah, I like to think that there are creatures that are alive on their own.